Listening Comprehension. In this section, you will demonstrate your skills in understanding spoken English. There are 3 parts in the listening comprehension section, with different tasks in each. Part A, Directions. In Part A, you will hear short conversations between 2 people. At the end of each conversation, a third person will ask a question about what the 2 people said. Each conversation and each question will be spoken only 1 time. For this reason, you must listen carefully to understand what each speaker says. After you hear a conversation and the question, read the 4 selections and choose the one that is the best answer to the question the speaker asked. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and blacken the space that corresponds to the letter for the answer you have chosen. Blacken the space completely so that the letter inside the space does not show. Listen to the following example. On the recording, you hear,
Does the car need to be filled?
Mary stopped at the gas station on her way home.
What does the woman mean? In your test book, you will read, A. Mary bought some food. B. Mary had car trouble. C. Mary went shopping. D. Mary bought some gas. From the conversation, you learn that Mary stopped at the gas station on her way home. The best answer to the question, does the car need to be filled, is D. Mary bought some gas. Therefore, the correct answer is D. Now let us begin Part A with question number 1. Question number 1.
The medical license examination on June 22nd was very difficult. Did Sandy pass?
She hasn't received a letter yet, but she says she sailed right through it.
What does the woman say about Sandy? Question number 2.
The new sports complex is an excellent facility with all kinds of conveniences.
Last time we went, we drove around for 40 minutes before we found a place to park.
What does the man mean? Question number 3.
The stock market is up, but my son is losing money on his mutual funds.
If I were in his shoes, I would hire another broker to manage my investments.
What does the woman imply? Question number 4.
The traffic is congested by Toledo, and it's getting close to the rush hour. I don't know what time I'll get there.
When you arrive at the house, just let yourself in.
What does the man mean? Question number 5.
Chocolate must be an all-time favorite. We sell gallons of it.
Actually, vanilla ice cream accounts for 70% of all flavors sold in the past decade.
What does the woman imply? Question number 6.
Did Liz get a used car?
She has already had to pay for new tires, and now it looks like she'll need a headlight.
What does the man say about Liz? Question number 7.
I thought Joanna went to the art museum with Mark.
When Mark called at 10, Joanna had already gone canoeing with her brother.
What does the woman mean? Question number 8.
Why did Bob and Lynn cancel their cruise? Is their company doing well?
Because of the change in revenue income, they had to take a cut in pay.
What does the man mean? Question number 9.
Mrs. Bailey wants to be reimbursed. Do you know how much?
She was charged $38 for the flowers and another $12 for the delivery.
What does the woman mean? Question number 10.
What changes are planned on the north side of the city?
The proposal to build a hospital in the area looks more promising than it did 6 years ago.
What does the man imply? Question number 11.
Can I stay for just another minute? I really need to look something up.
Patrons are requested to leave the library when the closing bell is sounded.
What does the woman mean? Question number 12.
The roads here seem very confusing to me. I am not sure I can find your house in time for us to make the performance.
Would you like to meet at the concert hall instead?
What does the man suggest? Question number 13.
Is Rita ready with her data? We've got to make a good impression.
She made sure she checked the slides for the sales presentation.
What does the woman say about Rita? Question number 14.
You bought 12 loaves of bread and 5 gallons of milk.
We've invited 4 couples to visit during the summer semester break.
What does the man mean? Question number 15.
Isn't Margaret lonely? I know I would be.
Now that all her children are out of the house, she is thinking about going back to college.
What does the woman say about Margaret? Question number 16.
Ralph doesn't seem to be worried about the boys.
He doesn't let on what he is really thinking.
What does the man mean? Question number 17.
I swerved to avoid a dog and ran into a telephone pole.
No problem. We can have your car as good as new in a couple of days.
What is the woman's occupation? Question number 18.
Arthur went grocery shopping at midnight. What an odd thing to do.
The store does stay open.
What does the man mean? Question number 19.
You missed your flight. Was Ken angry?
Had he thought to pull over at that gas station we saw on Walnut Street, he wouldn't have run out.
What does the woman imply about Ken? Question number 20.
We spent an entire week on words with primary and secondary stresses.
Words that have two stressed syllables are not as common as those that have only one.
What does a man mean? Question number 21.
Do you know how this oven works? I can't figure it out.
Diane makes casseroles in it every week. She'd know.
Where does this exchange occur? Question number 22.
Carl didn't tell me his wife was away at her sister's in Bluffton.
Why is that such a big deal?
She promised to babysit my children while I take my father-in-law shopping for a suit.
Where is Carl's wife? Question number 23.
We've been waiting for the prescription for 25 minutes, and we still need to stop at the bank and pick up the sandwiches at the deli.
We could have gone to the post office in the meantime.
Where does this conversation take place? Question number 24.
What time did they say your car would be ready?
They said it should be ready around 3:30, but I'll be surprised if they finish before 5.
What can be concluded from the woman's statement? Question number 25.
If I eat another bite, I won't be able to breathe.
You didn't have to have so much soup just an hour after you had half a watermelon.
What can be said about the man? Question number 26.
Not only did the Nixons come uninvited, but they also brought their cousins.
It didn't bother me.
What does the woman mean? Question number 27.
Why didn't you go out with Nick? Didn't he say he wanted to take you out on the town?
All he ever talks about is tennis.
What can be concluded from this exchange? Question number 28.
How many students do you have in your statistics class?
This year we restricted it to 200 students, but there are probably just as many on the waiting list.
What can be said about the statistics class? Question number 29.
I'm sorry, sir. Your coat isn't ready yet. I think we can have it for you in about an hour.
How long does it take to mend the sleeve lining?
Where does this conversation take place? Question number 30.
May I have a glass of water? I'm thirsty, and I have a splitting headache.
I'll bring you some aspirin as soon as we get to a higher altitude.
What is the man's occupation? This is the end of Part A. Now read the directions for Part B while they are being read to you. Part B. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear longer conversations. After each conversation, you will hear several questions. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Remember, you are not allowed to take notes or write in your test book. Questions 31 through 34 refer to the following conversation about animation.
What movie are you going to see?
I am taking my daughters to a matinee. We try to make it every Sunday. Unfortunately, they like cartoons, so I also have to watch them.
I like cartoons, too. Last week I saw an animated feature and I really enjoyed it. Do you know how much work goes into making them? First, the story has to be written. Then an artist, or even a whole team of artists, draw the story frame by frame. When that's done, the camera crew photographs the entire sequence. The dialogue and voice features add depth and specific dimensions to the animated characters to make the plot intriguing. The music and the dialogue are recorded to match the story and the action on film. Of course, special visual and sound effects are added to the basic layout. Without them, the final version of the feature wouldn't be nearly as much fun. I think cartoons are a form of art.
I guess I will look at cartoons a little differently now than I used to. Where did you learn so much about how cartoons are made?
Question number 31. Where is this conversation probably taking place? Question number 32. Why does the man say that it's unfortunate that his children like cartoons? Question number 33. What is the first step in making a cartoon? Question number 34. What is the purpose of special effects? Questions 35 through 38 refer to the following conversation about autumn.
I think after all the noise in the city, quiet walks in the woods can be very restful. Look, it's so pretty when the leaves are changing color. I am glad we decided to come here.
Seasonal changes always make things appear beautiful. In the spring, the green grass and leaves make everything seem new. In the autumn, when the leaves turn red, yellow, and brown, the woods are full of color. No wonder autumn is called fall. When leaves fall on the ground, they cover it like a blanket.
Actually, the leaves turn color because in the autumn, days are shorter than in the summer, and the number of daylight hours decreases. I'm sure this does not sound very romantic, but it's scientifically accurate.
Scientifically accurate or not, I just enjoy looking at the trees that can have a dozen different shades of color in their crowns.
Question number 35. Where does this exchange probably take place? Question number 36. When does this conversation probably occur? Question number 37. Why do tree leaves change color? Question number 38. Why does the woman say scientifically accurate or not? This is the end of Part B. Now read the directions for Part C while they are being read to you. Part C. Directions. In Part C, you will hear short talks. At the end of each, you will be asked several questions. Each talk and each question will be spoken only one time. For this reason, you must listen carefully to understand what the speaker says. After you hear a question, read the 4 selections and choose the one that is the best answer to the question the speaker asked. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and blacken the space that corresponds to the letter for the answer you have chosen. Listen to this sample talk. You will hear,
Before people used automobiles, they walked or rode bicycles for short distances and took trains, streetcars, or horse-drawn carriages for long-distance travel. When automobiles were first produced, only the rich could afford them. Today, almost every household in the United States owns at least one car, and 90% of American adults have driver's licenses. According to the yearly value of its output, the U.S. automobile industry exceeds all other manufacturing industries in the country. As a consumer, this industry also supports other major industries such as steel, glass, and rubber. Furthermore, approximately 12 million Americans are employed in the auxiliary service industries consisting of repair shops and service stations.
Now listen to the following question. You will hear, according to the speaker, how did people travel before the invention of the automobile? You will read, A. By cars and carriages. B. By bicycles, trains, and carriages. C. On foot and by boat. D. On board ships and trains. The best answer to the question, according to the speaker, how did people travel before the invention of the automobile, is B. By bicycles, trains, and carriages. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Now listen to another sample question. Approximately how many people are employed in the automobile service industry? You will read A. 1 million. B. 10 million. C. 12 million. D. 90 million. The best answer to the question, approximately how many people are employed in the automobile service industry, is C. 12 million. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Questions 39 through 44 refer to the following lecture about mail.
In most airports, mail and other freight, except the passenger's baggage, is handled as cargo. In recent years, the number of tons of cargo processed by major airports has been growing twice as fast as the number of passengers. In small airports that have no separate cargo facilities, cargo is carried together with the passenger baggage. On the other hand, in large airports, cargo is directed to separate terminals that exclusively process cargo. After cargo is delivered to the airport, it is grouped by destination and occasionally by carrier company. Large postal outlets and airports sort mail to be delivered by various flights, depending on their scheduled departures and arrival times. Commercial cargo includes a wide range of articles, such as electronic goods, processed food items, machine parts, and even agricultural equipment. Airline economists claim that because transporting goods doesn't require serving meals and drinks and employing stewards, companies make greater gains by carrying cargo than by carrying passengers.
Question number 39. What is the main idea of this talk? Question number 40. What does the term cargo refer to? Question number 41. How is cargo processed at major airports? Question number 42. How is cargo carried from small airports? Question number 43. Where is mail sorted? Question number 44. What does commercial cargo include? Questions 45 through 50 refer to the following lecture about apples.
Among the thousands of varieties of apples, only a few account for most of the apples grown for commercial purposes and by individual gardeners. 3 varieties, Delicious, Golden Delicious, and Macintosh, make up more than 60% of all apples sold. The apple varieties differ in the color of the peel, texture, size, and taste. The peel may be green, yellow, or red, and the flesh is usually white, cream, or yellow. The texture is classified as soft or firm, and the taste as tart or sweet. Sweet apples are eaten fresh, and the tart varieties are made into applesauce, cider, and vinegar. Apples are standard fare in most lunches that people either bag or buy. Apple juice factories and cider mills account for about 30% of the total consumption of processed apples, with the pulp being converted into cattle fodder. Crab apples belong to the wild varieties. Because apple trees of all kinds require a cool climate to grow, they don't do well in warmer areas. The trees are usually dormant during the winter and enjoy prolonged periods of cold weather. To produce a good crop, apple orchards also need high quantities of water during the winter when their root systems continue to extend. Although in Eurasia the fruit has been cultivated for thousands of years, it may not be common on other continents. Historically, the trees were scarce in Africa and Australia, where rains are limited to certain seasons that do not last longer than a couple of months. In these regions, as well as in South America, people first looked at apples as an exotic fruit, even though they had been known for centuries.
Question number 45. How many varieties of apples are grown for commercial purpose? Question number 46. What are possible colors for apple peels? Question number 47. How is the taste of apples classified? Question number 48. How are apples with high sugar content mostly used? Question number 49. According to the speaker, what do apple trees require to produce a good crop? Question number 50. In what regions were apple trees first cultivated? Stop working on Section 1.